button there. So I know there's no lack of, just of stress. It's always there. It's always present. And, coming to yoga is certainly, I'm so happy to see you at visiting your yoga mat and coming to your practice. And we also have to be very careful in regards to the amount of news we take in. We must be, if we look at it through the lens of Ayurveda, we have to bring in the tapas, or discipline. We have to be very disciplined. It's not like we don't know there is much news to be had, but if we've already got the information, do we really need, how much more do we need? How much more do we need to read? How many sources do you need to source? So be careful. This is also falls under, one of the pratyahara, like the senses. We have to be very aware of how we stimulate our senses. How do you begin your day? How soon is it that you actually check the news or your phone or your email? What are the first things you do when you get up in the morning and begin your day? How do you start? These are questions that we, need to ask ourselves and pay attention to how we do and how we interact, because what's happening around us is overwhelming, and we will be overwhelmed. Yeah. So this morning, one of the things I really noticed, Diego is having, what are you talking about over there? Diego's over there saying something. Hold on. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm so sorry. There. Oh, my toy is stuck. It's over there. Just get it out for me. Okay, I can. But anyway, this morning, when I looked outside, and the color, what struck me was the color blue. Mm-hmm. The color blue and the contrast with the color white. And I could simply bring my awareness to that moment, to what I saw, and to how that touched me, to be able to see that. It probably, because we didn't see it for so very long. And the one thing I've also realized is not to take anything for granted. The color blue, the ability to go outside, the ability to breathe deeply outside. So all of these things are so just, I'm sure all of you, many of you are like, yeah, feeling similarly to these things that I cannot take for granted. Because there's no doubt, I always know that things can change like that. And they do. So we want to really watch this and how we manage our time, what we talk about, what we listen to, and how that supports us. What is it doing? What's the effect it is having on us? So I'll just put that little note out there. Not that you didn't already know it. I know you do. Sometimes it's just helpful to have a reminder. So let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. We're going to work with our feet today. We're going to work with finding the ground and being grounded. So take a comfortable seat, and you're welcome to close your eyes. To connect to the surface beneath you. Notice the surface beneath you. Notice how your body finds the surface beneath you. How does the skin connect to that surface beneath you? How do the two meet each other? And then you lengthen your spine up towards the sky. And let go of the surface of yourself and step into your breath and into your body. Drop into your Ujjayi breathing. The Ujjayi breath, that brings cohesion to our bodies, our inner body. The breath that you hear with your inner ear. And can you make the breath smooth? We want to hear the breath, but if the Ujjayi is too loud, like if it was so loud that someone who's, 4 feet away from me could hear my breath, then that might be more agitating to that vata system in our bodies. So I want my breath to be smooth. I want the tone at the back of the throat to be able to support that smooth inhale and smooth exhale. And at the bottom of your next exhale, you can release any control on your breath. And honoring your presence, bring your hands in front of your heart. Lengthen up again through the crown of your skull. From the ground, from the connection of your pelvis to the support beneath you, touch back in to the courage that you have to continue to lengthen your body, to be present. Or as David White would say, to be a little shade braver. I'll open the practice. You're welcome to join me. We'll chant the sound of Om. We'll sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Take a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. With your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. So in a moment, we're gonna come into our practice, but let's just have a little reminder about the heel bone, right? The heel. Let me make this I gotta make this spot like this. See if we can make this bigger. And the light is a little funky, but I want you to know that your heel bone, it extends quite a ways behind your ankle. Yeah. It is back here. This big, long calcaneus, this large bone is back here to support you. And we're going to talk about, if we looked at the bottom of the foot, see if we can get the light right. The outer heel. And this is the bone itself, but you're going to have the inner heel, the upper inner heel, and there's the upper outer heel. So it's like there's four corners. We talked about the four corners of the foot, but there are four corners to the heel bone, to the calcaneus. And it is a large bone, and I want you to find it on your foot, and we're going to connect to it. I'm going to give you the full 360 of this bone, so that we don't just think of like the heel, but let's think about the four corners of your heel. All right, so let's go ahead and come up to standing to begin this morning. We're so glad we get to come to standing. We get to work more with our breathing because our air has a better quality. Diego thinks it's already Shavasana, but he is wrong. No, he's so good at taking it easy. But in a moment, he's going to be getting up, Diego. All right. So come up to standing. Good. Good point. Here's a blanket for you. You want a blanket? There you go. All right. So coming into Tadasana. He's having a hard time focusing on me today, I think. And notice in Tadasana, where's the weight falling into your footprints? Is there more weight in the toes? What happens when you just shift the weight back a little, shift your pelvis back slightly? Can the toes be still on the ground, but lengthened out and relaxed? And then you're lengthening up through the crown of your skull. You can take the palms and shine them forward. This is anatomical position. And then let's inhale, lift both arms. And exhale your hands back down in front of your heart. Again, inhale, upward hands pose. Exhale, hands in Anjali Mudra. One more time, inhale, lift your arms, Ujjayi inhale. There's the pause. Your exhale, the hands come back down in front of the heart. Great. Release your hands. If you know that you need blocks when you bow forward, then you could grab your blocks and put them in front of you so that you'll have them on any height. And then let's inhale, lift both arms again. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. With your inhale, come up halfway. And then with your next exhale, bow forward. Hands on blocks or hands on the ground. Katie's got her blocks, hopefully tall this morning, so that the backs of the knees can be open. And can all of us reach? Can we find the inner and the outer heel? The inner and the outer heel bone. The inner and the outer heel of your foot. Not by changing what your ankle is doing. These are subtle movements. And can you reach from your inner hamstring all the way down to your feet? From the inner hamstring down to the inner heel. Now, I am a person who, I used to have calluses at my inner arches. My feet were so very flat. Boy, I have learned so much about my feet. And what I notice right now, and I just want you to, see what you notice in your own body, but when I reach from my inner hamstring all the way to my inner heel, I feel a lift that comes up inside that does, I feel my medial arches pick up, not because I consciously picked them up or rolled them out or changed my ankle, but how does reaching through the inner hamstring, what is that doing? And then we're going to shift our hands to our hips. Take the shoulder blades toward your waist and inhale, come back up. Exhale your hands back in front of your heart. Step the feet wide apart. We're going to set up for side angle pose. So we might need 1 or 2 blocks for that. Let's go to your right first. So you're going to take your right foot and turn it out. The back foot turns in. Take whatever height block you need at the outer right shin. Inhale, take the arms out. And then exhale, come to side angle. You might bring the back hand on the hip to begin. And on the back leg, from the inner hamstring again, can you reach all the way into the inner heel? You might bring the arm up overhead. From inner handspring, oh, I see. So from the inner back hamstring to the back heel, when you reach, what happened to the side body? Inhale, let's come up. And then we're going to spin our feet the other way. We've got our block. Of course, you're always welcome to ask questions. If you have a question during class, please ask. Ready for the second side? Inhale the arms out. Exhale, side angle. So again, on the back leg, from the inner hamstring of the back leg, reach to the heel. What happens through that skyward side of your body? Can you drop into your Ujjayi breathing still? Where's the base of the skull? Inhale, come up. Bring your blocks around if you need them. Make your feet parallel. Wide-legged forward fold. You can start with hands on hips. And then exhale, bow forward. And again, I'm going to give myself whatever height of blocks I need in order to have the back of the knee open, so that my legs are straight as possible. So I'll give myself as much height as I need for that. Can we walk the arms out to downward dog arms? Some of you will want to keep using your blocks. So you'll scoot the blocks forward and put the hands on the blocks. Others of you, the hamstrings are longer, so you won't need that. And now I want to notice when I reach from the inner hamstring all the way down, the inner knee all the way to the heels. So that I can find both the inner heel and the outer heel. Ujjayi breathing, or the balanced breath, the smooth quality of your breath. And then we're going to walk the hands back, shift them up to the hips, and come up to standing. We'll step the feet together. Let's bring the feet close together for a moment. When I bring my feet close together, I just want to notice, can I have almost like one heel with my feet together? Like I feel my feet, I feel the outer heels, the inner heels. And what happens up through the center of the body, all the way up through the spine. And then we'll let that go. We're going to take a revolved side angle pose. So you could have both blocks at the top of your mat. And let's go ahead, bow forward and step your left foot back. Right foot forward, left foot back. We're coming into a lunge. Let's bring your block under the left hand closer to the right big toe. We could use a strap for this. It might be helpful, but it's okay. We'll go like this. Let's take right hand up on the right hip. And then from your left sit bone, reach through that inner left hamstring all the way down to the inner left heel, the lifted heel as you turn towards the right, from the sit bone to the heel. And you might drop the right arm and bring it overhead. And then we're going to exhale, turn back towards the ground. Move the block, inhale, step forward. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, right foot back. Bringing the block closer to the left big toe. At any height or any quantity, you could have 2 blocks. I'm going to take my left hand up on the hip and start to reach from my right sit bone through the right inner hamstring as I'm turning all the way to the right inner heel. I might add the arm. Good. That looks great, Evelyn. Really nice through the pelvis, that lifting and reaching all the way into the back heel. Yeah. Great. This looks good, Anne. I'm just curious if the block was taller, what it would look like. Just wondering. I don't know if that you'll feel any difference through the hips. All the way from the inner right sit bone, the inner right hamstring, the inner right heel. And then we're going to exhale, turn back towards the ground. Good. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. And again, I'm going to have my blocks at any height if I need them in order for me to open the backs of my knees, in order for me to reach through both inner hamstrings, both medial hamstrings, which go from the sit bone. It comes all the way down. They go across the inner knee to the inner tibia, and you're reaching all the way to the inner heel of both legs. Alrighty. And then we're going to come, just for a moment, we're going to come down to the ground. I'm going to do one heart opening here. You're going to come down to the floor. And I'd like you to take, let's see, I have to think about this. If you have a bolster, you'll use your bolster. Some of you have a bolster. And if you do, you're going to put the bolster on your mat. You're going to use that. Some of us don't have a bolster. But what we're gonna take, if we don't have a bolster, we're gonna take 2 blocks end to end. We're gonna take 2 blankets over the top of those blocks. So the blanket that's folded lengthwise. Then I'm going to need, if I don't have a 3rd block, if I have a 3rd block, I'm going to use this 3rd block. If I do not have a 3rd block, I'm going to take one of my blankets and I'm going to fold it into like thirds. Let's see what that height is like. I'll try this on. This is going to go under my pelvis. I'm going to pretend it's a block, although I'd like it to be a little taller. So let me see how it fits, because I want the heart center, the apex of the heart is going to be on top of these blocks. I'm going to slide a block or a blanket under my pelvis. Hands behind my head. And I'm coming over. So I could keep my hands behind my head the whole time. As I come up and over, I'm supporting my head. I like my head. This is why I think I'm going to add, I'm lifting my head back up. For those of us who only have blankets under our pelvis, I'm going to put one more little height under there because I need my pelvis to be a little higher. There we go. So that when I come over, oh yeah, then my head, for me, my head is going to is touching the ground. And I'm going to reach my arms overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. My hands are about as wide as my yoga mat. And in regards, my knees are bent, my feet are on the ground, and I'm going to steady that. I'm going to steady between my inner and my outer heel. Drop back to the breathing. Great, okay. Then I'm gonna, if your arms are overhead, you'll put them back under the head. You'll lift the head up so the chin is toward the chest. Remove the blankets or the block that are under the pelvis. Pelvis finds the ground. I'll stretch one or both legs out. Use my abdominals to come back up to sitting. Okay, let's get a turn around. And I'm going to turn my little stack around that this could be your bolster. You might need a little more height. I'm going to take downward facing dog with some support for the head. So as I come up, I think we could, you know what, come down a second, take a blanket behind you to put your heels up on. I don't know how much height you need. Different people need different height, but that's blanket is going to be, my heels are going to find that in my downward dog. So that as I come up, I'm going to root through my heels and I'm going to add whatever little bit of height I might need for my, like the hairline to find support without bending my arms. And I can see my feet. And I can look back at my feet. Can you? And check in with yourself. And you root, give yourself as much height as you need under your heels. Can you find all four corners of the heel? The upper inner heel, the outer heel, the inner back heel, the outer back heel, and the upper outer heel. Was that enough? Did you get all that? See what you notice, Michael, in your feet. There might be something working that maybe hasn't been working. Great. Okay, and then we're going to lower both knees. And we'll move that. I'm going to take my blankets off my blocks, or if it's a bolster, move my blocks out of the way. Let's take one block to sit upon for a moment. And let's bring your right heel towards your left sit bone and take the other foot across. We're going to take a twist. So you're turning to the left. The right hand or left hand could have something. The right hand could just be at the outer knee. Find the support beneath the pelvis. The weight is balanced in the pelvis. And then we're going to come back to center. I'm switching sides. So I'm going to just check in again. Is the weight. So even though the legs are doing different things, sometimes when I initially take myself across, I find all my weight maybe dumping into the downside hip. So I'm just going to ask you to take a moment to balance the weight in the hips, and then take the right hand behind you. You're turning towards your right, or whatever. You're turning towards the knee that's lifted. And then we're going to exhale, come back to center. Good. We're going to come up to standing. Up to standing. Move my blocks out of the way. I'm going to bring my blocks to the top of my mat. And to start, I'm going to make them tall. And we're going to take Uttanasana. But first, let's take another Uttanasana. So inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Again, blocks can be at any height. You see your feet. Can you find the upper inner heel? That one can be hard for some of us. Can I reach through both inner hamstrings all the way into my feet? And then let's inhale halfway. Exhale, let's shift the hands to the hips. Inhale, come up. Let's step the right foot back. We're taking Uttanasana. Right foot back. The right foot has a very slight turnout. The two hip points are pointing straight ahead towards your blocks, towards the top of your mat. Let's inhale, lift both arms. Both legs are going to stay straight. Exhale, begin to bow forward. So on the back leg, as you bow, can you reach from inner right sit bone, inner hamstring, all the way down. Hands come to blocks, or blocks are good, probably blocks would be good for all of us. And then once you're down, can you find on the back leg, the right foot, the right outer heel? The right outer heel. And what happens when you release your lower left abdominals? Release the lower left abdominals and see if you feel a little different shift into the right outer heel. You might scoot your blocks forward. Great. Okay, so we're going to come lighter on the hands. If the blocks are forward, you might scoot them back. And then take the arms out and come up. Step forward. How does in standing right now, is there a difference in how your right leg connects to the earth? How is it different or similar to the left side? Okay, let's step the left leg back. The left foot has a slight turnout. We're going to inhale and lift the arms up. And then exhale, start to bow forward. Good, great. I love the journey. There it goes. We don't always like the journey, but it's good to be present for the journey. So on the back leg, can you find the left outer heel? And are both of your legs straight? If you need your blocks to be taller, make them taller. And what happens if you release the lower right abdominals? What does that do? I love the block at the wall, Lise. I love the back leg block. It's looking great. Great, yeah. And what about the breath? And I can't quite tell, Linda K, but just make sure your right leg is straight. And if the front leg isn't, okay, good. And then using that connection, especially to the back leg. Notice the significance of your back leg, the back heel, as you start to transition the hands to becoming out, wide, and up. Yeah, and then step forward. And as you step forward, then can you once again notice the two legs as you stand? All right, triangle. We're going to turn to the side, get our blocks ready. You're going to be going to your right side first. So we'll step the feet apart. Turn the right foot out, left foot in. Inhale the arms out. And then exhale to triangle. On the front foot, if you haven't already, you can do a little experiment. Because most of the time in triangle, we put a little more weight to the outer heel on the front leg. So if you shift the weight from the outer heel to the inner heel, You know, what happens through the pelvis, what happens in the relationship of the two SI joints. And does that help you connect into the back leg? Can you find the back heel? And when you're connected to the earth and you turn your thoracic spine, your heart open towards the sky, open towards what I was talking about here this morning when I saw that amazing blue sky. Then we'll inhale, come up. And let's change the feet. So your left foot will be your forward foot. Inhale the arms out. And then exhale to triangle. So sometimes I like bringing my hand on my hip to begin. And then make that shift from the outer front heel towards the inner heel. And notice what happens through the pelvis to help connect you all the way back. Turn the spine. What's the Ujjayi breath doing? Inhale, come up. Make the feet parallel. Hands on the hips. And exhale, bow forward. Can we, if we need to use the blocks for our hands, of course, please be doing that. And is there, as you walk your hands to be in between your feet, can you also have something for the head to rest upon? Whatever height that might be, how you negotiate this whole setup, just so we have little something under the head if the head doesn't reach the floor. I'm still going to reach all the way from the inner hamstring down into the heel, the inner heel. All right, and then we'll walk the hands out. Let's shift them up to the hips and come up to standing. And let's step the feet back together. Tadasana. Are the heels more present in your, when you're just standing in mountain pose right now? Do you feel the heels more easily? All right. Okay, so let's take this, let's go to half moon. We can use the wall for half moon, which we were doing last week. So if you want to use the wall again, like we were, I'll show you if you forgot. I need to figure out how far I'm going to be from my wall. So I do my little experiment. Hey, I think I got pretty lucky here. Where when I reach, if I'm going to shift my weight, when you're going to stand on your right first, I'm just standing on my left to show you. When I reach my right foot back, right now, when my pelvis, my hip is right over my foot, I'm not actually touching the wall yet. But when I reach, there my toes find it. And my pelvis is actually, when I reach, it's a little behind my standing leg, isn't it? Here's it right over. My big toe is not quite to the wall, but when I really extend into the ground, oh, there it goes. When I'm reaching into my heel of my standing leg, it already opens me. I actually think my block could be a little lower. This one. Shall we take half moon? I saw last night the new moon. Okay, so let's figure out your distance from your wall if you're using one. So we can do it from having both hands on the ground, that's fine, on your blocks at any height. You're gonna stand on your right foot first. So figure out how near or far you're gonna be when you want just the toes. I like just the toes to touch. And then once you're there, I'm gonna come over and see where you are so I can talk about this without it pretending. So once you're there and you've got that leg touched, you've figured out your distance, I want you to really reach into the front heel. Reach into the inner heel and the outer heel. See if the pelvis begins to make a little turn towards the sky so that the left side of the pelvis might begin to lift. Yes, yes, yes. Are you reaching both into the standing leg, and also are you reaching back into the lifted leg? Where's the weight in your feet? Is the right greater trochanter drawn all the way to midline? When you draw it to midline, the standing leg, what does that do to how the weight is in the heel? And then when you're ready, calm down, take your time. Don't rush it. Don't rush that magical moment. And then there you are for a moment. Before you do your second side. Does anyone have any questions before you do your second side? All right then, here we go. You're gonna be on your left leg, left foot. You're bowed forward and you reach your right leg back. And then can you reach down into draw the left or the standing legs, greater trochanter into midline. Reach all the way down into the heel of the standing foot, both the inner heel and the outer heel. And then start to really lengthen out the lifted leg. Reach back. And you might even reach your left blocks forward a little. I think they're too close to you. Give yourself, yeah, there you go. Give yourself more length. Yeah, that's it. Great, good. And just make sure the leg that is lifted has not gone behind you. That lifted leg is still in the plane of the front of your body. Beautiful, everyone. Take your time. We'll all meet up when you're ready in Uttanasana. And in Uttanasana, can you look at your feet for a moment? So now we're going to shift the hips a little forward. We're going to shift the hips slightly forward so that the hands or the blocks might end up going forward a little too. We're going to bring the hips right over the heels and bow forward there. And can you reach from the inner hamstring all the way down into the inner heels? Some of us might have some hamstring conversations happening tomorrow. Then we shift the weight back. It goes more back into the heels, the hips go back. Good. And we're going to come to the ground. Bend both knees. Good. Coming down to the floor. Cool. Okay. Let's take a strap. We'll make a loop in the strap. Not a very big loop, but a loop. So hard to see a purple strap with a purple ball, isn't it? We're going to take Supta Padangusthasana. So if you'll go ahead and lie down. And let's take the right foot up in the strap, and let's take the strap to be at the inner heel. I mean the heel, right in front of the right heel, so that as I reach up, I'm going to be able to find both my inner and my outer heel in this lifted leg. So I've got my strap with my right arm. I'm going to reach up to the inner and outer heel and take the left leg out long. Give yourself as much strap as you need to. All right, so my pelvis is, I notice where my pelvis is connected to the floor here. And I'm going to try to keep that weight balanced in my pelvis. I'm going to start to take the right leg toward the right. And I'm still reaching all the way up from the right inner thigh all the way to the right inner heel. Let's inhale, come back up. Now the leg on the ground too, I could be reaching through the inner and outer heel of that leg. Let's switch hands on our strap. So the right arm will come out to the side. I'm going to be careful that my right outer hip hasn't drawn up towards my right lower ribs. I'm going to reach out again, the left medial hamstring, that inner hamstring, all the way to the left heel as I cross my right leg towards midline. Let's keep the right side of your sacrum on the ground. Don't let the right side of the sacrum come up. Finding the right side of the sacrum. Oh, so what happened when you found the right side of the sacrum and you kept that there? Did you get any release, more release after a moment through the whole leg? Come back to vertical. We'll bend the knee. Take the strap off. Let's put the right leg alongside the left. You can notice, like the sacrum too. What's the difference? Even when the legs are straight. Is there less tension in the right leg now? How is it, Jackie? How is that right side? How does this correlate to the right side of your face? All right, so I like to bend the right knee, put the right foot on the ground, and bring your left leg up. Take the strap in front of the left heel so that we're able to engage through the whole leg, the whole line of the leg there. Take the strap with the left hand, right arm out to the side, right leg straight on the ground. I might imagine that my right foot is against a block or something, against the wall, the down leg. And you're going to begin to take the left leg towards the left. I'm going to still keep reaching on my bottom leg. See how steady I can be. And then let's inhale, we'll come back to vertical. Switch hands on the strap. Left arm out to the side, and start to take the left leg towards midline. Keeping the left side of the sacrum on the ground. Even as I lengthen through the inside even, the inner and the outer left leg. And then we'll inhale, come back to vertical. Let's bend the knee, take the strap off, and take both legs out on the ground. And let's put both feet on the floor now. So we'll have the knees bent, both feet on the ground. And you could bring your attention into your sacrum, where it's touching the ground. And does one side feel more spongy or moist of the sacrum? And does one side of the sacrum feel, more rigid? You might just check into that. And remember, living bone is very, it's got a lot of flexibility to it. It's moist, it moves. Living bone is not, hard like a rock. And I do notice in my own body, one side feeling a little more moist than the other at the back of my sacrum. And I'm curious if I can, put more attention into, even as I lie here, like a little irrigation to the one side that feels like there's more resistance to being against the ground right now. Okay, so let's take the hips and shift them to the left, just a couple inches. Straighten the right leg and take a twist to the right. We'll come back to center. Shift a little right and twist to the second side. Then we're going to come back to center. So lining up in center, pubic bone, navel, heart center, throat, nose. Let's take happy baby, either hands at the back of the thighs or on the shins, maybe the little toe side of your feet. And then we'll release that and come down to Shavasana. So whatever Shavasana is going to feel nourishing to you this morning, if you want to give yourself, support under the knees, or maybe you like putting blankets under the legs, or maybe you like something under the spine, something under the head. And then allowing your breath to deepen. And beginning to awaken your body to movement. Make a mindful transition over to one side. And then use the support of your arms as you press yourself up into a comfortable seat. Just a little pranayama. We're going to take Nadishogna, alternate nostril breathing. So if you'll take your right hand, you can take the middle finger and pointer finger into the palm. Bring the thumb and the ring and pinky finger just below the bony cartilage. Inhale through both nostrils. Exhale out both. Constrict the right. Inhale left. Constrict the left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Constrict the right. Exhale left. That's one round. Do 2 more rounds. On your next exhale left, release any control on your breath. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Oh, Diego so misses